That tail goes basically from the second they wake up, wagging at breakfast, wagging at the wall, wagging at nothing at 6 in the morning, while staring at you like you've both agreed something is about to happen. And everyone reads that as the happiest dog alive, which, sure, partly. But that wag is also a motor that never got an off switch installed. These dogs were bred to work a field all day, flushing birds, quartering back and forth, hours of it. Somebody took that engine and put it in a suburban living room, and the engine doesn't know the difference. It just keeps running. So what people call happy is often closer to idling. Revving, a dog waiting for a job that's never coming. And when the job doesn't come, the energy doesn't politely go away, it goes sideways. Chewed door frames, holes in the yard, pacing. The dog that follows you into the bathroom and stands there vibrating. Springer people will tell you, okay, the honest ones will tell you, a 40-minute walk does basically nothing. That's a warm-up, that's stretching. I think this is where the breed gets misrepresented worst, honestly. The marketing photo is a cheerful family dog with soft eyes and a wagging tail. The fine print is 2 hours of real exercise a day, plus something for the brain. Or that cheerful dog starts dismantling your house with the same enthusiasm. The tail isn't lying exactly. The dog really is that eager. It's just eager for something, and if you don't give it the something, it picks its own, usually your couch. There's a thing in the veterinary literature with this breed's name on it. Rage syndrome, Springer rage, a dog that's fine, genuinely fine, sweet, normal, and then attacks with zero warning. No growl, no stiffening, none of the stuff dogs do before they bite. Eyes go glassy sometimes. Then it's over and the dog acts confused, like it wasn't there for it. Now, this is rare, really rare. The vast, vast majority of Springers will never do anything like this. I want to be clear on that because the internet loves to turn a rare condition into a breed reputation. But it's real, and it got attached to Springers for a reason. Researchers traced a lot of cases back through certain show lines. There's one famous sire from decades ago whose name comes up over and over. Popular stud dog, bred everywhere. And the problem rode along in the genetics, which is kind of the quiet horror of dog breeding when you think about it. One fashionable dog in the 70s, and the bill arrives generations later. The clinical thinking now is it's probably something like a seizure disorder, not aggression in the normal sense, not fear, not resource guarding, not bad training. Something misfiring, which is why training doesn't fix it, and why it blindsides experienced owners. What does this mean if you want one? Mostly, the breeder matters more than people want to admit. Ask about temperament in the line. Ask uncomfortable questions. A good breeder will have answers ready. A bad one will change the subject. And if someone tells you the whole thing's a myth, they haven't done the reading. It's rare, it's not made up. Lift up one of those gorgeous ears and smell it. Go on. If you've got a Springer, you already know where this is going, and you're probably wincing. Those ears are a design flaw with feathers on it. Heavy, hanging flaps that seal the ear canal shut like a lid on a pot. No airflow. Warm, dark, damp, which is conveniently the exact climate yeast and bacteria put on their travel brochures. Add a dog that throws itself into every pond, puddle, and ditch within sprinting distance, and you've got a moisture problem that never fully ends. So Springers get ear infections, a lot. Some dogs get 1 or 2 in a lifetime. Plenty of Springers get them on rotation. The head shaking, the scratching, that smell. Kind of sweet, kind of awful. You don't forget it. And vet visits. recurring ones. The ear stuff alone can quietly run you hundreds a year, every year, for 12+ years. Nobody puts that on the breed brochure. And here's the part owners learn the hard way. You can't just treat infections when they show up. You have to get ahead of them, drying the ears after every single swim. Cleaning on a schedule, not when it smells. Plucking or trimming the hair around the canal, it's a chore. A small, boring, permanent chore. Skip it long enough and the infections get chronic, the canal tissue thickens, and now you're talking about surgery. Real surgery, the expensive kind. The ears are half the reason people fall for this breed in the first place. Soft, long, ridiculous in the wind, and they cost you. Every gorgeous thing about a dog costs you somewhere. With a Springer, the bill comes through the ears. Picture a hunter in 1800s England. Okay, no, scratch that. I'm not allowed to say picture. The job was this: walk through brush for 6-7 hours, and the dog's job was to spring at birds. That's the name, Springer. The dog explodes into the undergrowth, bird goes up, hunter shoots, dog brings it back. All day, every day during season. That's the machine you're buying. And then people put that machine in a 2-bedroom flat and wonder why it's eating the couch. See, here's what nobody tells you at the breeders. The flushing instinct didn't go anywhere. 200 years of selection for find the thing, chase the thing, never stop moving, that doesn't wash out because your dog lives near a Starbucks now. The drive is still in there, idling, and an idling Springer is a problem looking for a place to happen. What does it look like in practice? The dog patrols. Windows, mostly. Birds on the balcony become a full-time job. Squirrels are basically a religious event. You take them to the park and they don't walk, they quarter. Back and forth, nose down, working ground that has no birds in it, because the program's running whether there's game or not. And the bark, God, the bark. A bored Springer narrates everything. Pigeon? Bark. Doorbell on the TV? Bark. Nothing at all? Just vibes? Bark. I think people see the floppy ears and the soft eyes, and they filed this breed under her family dog, full stop. And sure, it can be that, but it's a working animal wearing a family dog costume. You forget that part? The dog reminds you, usually around month 8. Two hours, minimum, every day. Rain, snow, late night, deadline, doesn't matter. That's the actual number for an adult Springer, and I want to sit on that for a second, because people hear active breed and think, what, a couple of laps around the block? No. 2 hours of real work. And here's the part that gets missed. A leashed stroll barely counts. That's a warm-up. This dog needs to run, to fetch, to swim if you can swing it, to use its nose. The brain has to come along for the ride, or you've only done half the job. Because that's the trap with Springers. You can physically exhaust one and still have a problem on your hands. Tired body, bored brain. You just built a fit, frustrated dog. Congratulations, it destroys things faster now. So the math gets ugly. Say you work 9 to 5, commutes 40 minutes each way. Where does 2 hours of field work fit? 5 a.m.? Some people actually do that. Most people say they will. Do it for 3 weeks in spring, and then, yeah. And skipping doesn't work the way you'd hope. The energy doesn't evaporate. It banks. Miss a day, the dog's at 110% tomorrow. Miss 3 days and you're living with a furry pinball that screams at leaves. Look, plenty of breeds let you negotiate. Skip a walk? The Frenchie genuinely could not care less. The Springer keeps a ledger. Every minute you owe, it collects. In chewed shoes, in dug-up gardens, in that whine that drills straight into your skull at 11 p.m. You're not buying a dog. You're signing a contract Read it first. Same breed name on the papers, 2 different animals, and almost nobody shopping for a Springer puppy knows this split exists until it's way, way too late. So, field-bred Springers, working lines. Lighter build, shorter coat, less ear, and an engine that does not have an off switch. These dogs are bred from generations of actual gun dogs that hunt for a living. The drive is, it's something to see. It's also something to live with, which is a different sentence entirely. A field Springer in a pet home is honestly kind of a hostage situation. For both parties, show lines, bench lines people call them, heavier, more coat, longer ears, calmer head, bred to look right in a ring, and somewhere along the way the volume knob got turned down. Still a Springer, still needs proper exercise. But it can actually exist in a living room without vibrating. Here's where it gets sneaky though. Plenty of breeders don't advertise which line they're working with, or they're somewhere in between and can't tell you themselves. So you've got families Googling Springer Spaniel temperament, reading about the show type, and bringing home a field-bred rocket. The internet described a dog. They got a different dog. And the decade thing isn't me being dramatic. These dogs live 12, 14 years. Pick the wrong line and you spend that entire stretch either underserving a working dog or, well, the other failure mode is the dog gets rehomed at 2. Which happens constantly. Check the breed rescues. They're full of field-bred adolescents whose owners thought they were getting the dog from the painting. Ask the breeder one question. What do the parents do all day? The answer tells you everything. "40 minutes. That's roughly how long some of these dogs will bark, pace, and claw at the door after you've left for work. Not sulk, not nap it off, full-on panic. And the frustrating part is, this is the same trait everyone falls in love with. Springers were bred to work inside shotgun range of one person, all day, reading every twitch of your hand. That wiring doesn't have an off switch. The dog that follows you to the bathroom, that's not a quirk, that's the job description. They were built to be glued to you. So you take that dog and you put it in a house alone for 8-9 hours, and yeah, you get the chewed door frames, the neighbors leaving notes, the dog that's destroyed a couch cushion and somehow looks more stressed than you are about it. People call it separation anxiety, like it's a defect. I think that's backwards. The dog is doing exactly what 200 years of breeding told it to do. Stay close, watch the person, work with the person. The person just isn't there. It's not broken. The situation is broken. And here's where it gets a little uncomfortable. A lot of Springers end up in rescue for exactly this. The family wanted a beautiful, affectionate dog. They got one. They got the most affectionate dog imaginable, and it turns out that level of attachment has a cost nobody mentioned at pickup. Crate training helps. Slow departures help. Exercise helps a lot. But none of it changes the underlying math. This is a dog that needs you around. Not wants, needs. If your life can't supply that, the dog pays for it every single day. The cruel part is how slow it is. Progressive retinal atrophy doesn't announce itself. The retina just thins out, cell by cell, over months, years sometimes. Night vision goes first. Your dog starts hesitating at the top of the stairs after dark, bumps a chair that's been in the same spot for 5 years, and you write it off because dogs are clumsy sometimes, right? By the time most owners figure out something's wrong, the dog's already lost a huge chunk of its sight, and there's no fix. No surgery, no drops, no diet. Once those cells are gone, they're gone. Springers carry a specific version of this. Cord1 KRA is the one that shows up in the breed, and it's recessive, which is the part that matters. A carrier dog sees fine, looks fine. Breeds fine, you'd never know. But pair 2 carriers, and roughly a quarter of those puppies are going blind, slowly, starting maybe at age 4 or 5, sometimes later. There's a DNA test for this. Costs about $50, takes a cheek swab, which means every single affected puppy born today is frankly a choice somebody made, or a choice somebody skipped. A breeder who doesn't test isn't unlucky, they just didn't spend the $50. Now, the slightly hopeful part. Dogs handle blindness better than we do, way better. Their world was always mostly nose and ears anyway. A blind Springer in a familiar house gets around so well that guests sometimes don't notice. Don't move the furniture, keep the routine steady, and the dog adapts. But adapting isn't the same as it being fine. Watch a sighted dog mark where the tennis ball lands, then watch a blind one stand there listening for it. There's a difference. The dog feels it too. Around 12–13% of Springers show up with bad hips in the screening databases. Elbows a bit less. And those numbers are almost certainly low because the worst-looking x-rays tend to never get submitted. Nobody mails in the failure. Dysplasia, in plain terms, the joint doesn't fit. Ball and socket are supposed to be snug. In a dysplastic hip, the fit is sloppy, so the joint grinds instead of glides. Every step, a little grinding. Stack that up over years and you get arthritis and a dog that's barely middle-aged. And with Springers, there's this brutal mismatch. The breed's whole personality is go. Leaping off things, crashing through brush, sprinting like the floor's on fire. A dog with loose hips doing that every day is sanding its own joints down. The drive doesn't care about the x-ray. The dog will run on a bad hip until it physically can't, because that's just what a Springer is. You can't see it early either. A young dog with mild dysplasia moves fine. Maybe a slight bunny hop in the back end when it runs. Maybe nothing at all. The bill comes due at 6, 7, 8. Stiffness after naps. Hesitating at the car door. That slow morning shuffle that wasn't there last year. The genetics part is messy. It's polygenic, plus environment. Puppy weight, exercise on slick floors, growth rate, all of it stirs the pot. So even good breeders with scored parents sometimes produce a bad hip. Fine, that's honest bad luck. What's not bad luck is breeding without scoring at all. Hip and elbow scores exist. They're public. If a breeder shrugs when you ask for them, that shrug is the answer. Walk. A Springer that scratches isn't having a bad week. For a big chunk of this breed, the itch is just kind of the baseline, the factory setting. Atopic dermatitis, allergic skin, whatever you want to call it. They're wired to react to stuff that doesn't bother other dogs at all. Pollen. Dust mites, the actual grass in your yard. And once it kicks off, it doesn't really stop. You manage it, there's no fixing it. And then there's the ears. Those gorgeous floppy ears everybody loses their mind over. They're basically a warm, wet, sealed-off little greenhouse for yeast and bacteria. No airflow down there. Floppy enough to look gorgeous, just sealed enough to grow stuff. Honestly, a bit of a design flaw. So you get the head shaking, the smell, and if you've never smelled a bad dog ear, you'll know it when you do. And the vet visits that come back around every couple months like clockwork. Some lines carry seborrhea on top of all that. The skin overproduces oil, gets flaky and greasy, smells kind of off. And in some Springers, it's primary, meaning there's no allergy underneath causing it. The skin's just built that way. What nobody tells you at the breeders, though, this is a lifetime cost. Medicated shampoos, a food trial that takes 3 months, and the patience of a saint. Apoquel, Cytopoint, those aren't cheap, and plenty of dogs stay on them for years. And the dog's not dramatically suffering, which is almost the worst part of it. It's just low-grade uncomfortable, pretty much forever. I'm not saying don't get a Springer. I'm saying walk in knowing the skin might be the thing that quietly runs your vet bill up for a decade, not the dramatic stuff, the boring, relentless itch. PFK deficiency, phosphofructokinase, if you want to say the whole thing, and you don't. It's an enzyme problem. The dog's red blood cells can't process sugar for energy the way they should, so under the wrong conditions, they just pop, break apart. And it's weird what sets it off. Excitement, panting, a hard run on a hot day. The dog can look totally healthy, then have one bad episode, dark urine, sometimes the color of coffee, and the dog's suddenly weak and feverish and anemic out of nowhere. Here's the part that gets me. There's a DNA test, has been for years, and it's cheap. A breeder can swab the parents and know for certain whether they're going to make affected puppies. It's recessive, so it takes 2 carriers to make a sick dog. Test them, done. So when a breeder skips it, that tells you something. Then there's Fucosidosis, and this one's genuinely grim. It's a storage disease. The nerve cells can't clear out a waste product, so it piles up in the brain. The dog seems fine for a year, maybe a year and a half. Then it starts losing things. Balance first, then the stuff it learned, the manners, the recall. Even its personality shifts. It's progressive, there's no treatment, and it usually kills them by 4 or 5. You just watch it happen. Same deal though, there's a test. The UK breed clubs run an actual control scheme for it. So it's avoidable, completely avoidable. Nobody has to breed this. The tools are right there, sitting on a lab shelf. My point is, a decent Springer breeder brings this up before you do. The website won't, the puppy photos won't. You have to ask, and how they answer is the whole ballgame. Bred to find birds. That's the whole job. Going back a couple hundred years, people picking the dogs that could wind a pheasant in heavy cover and go flush it out. So the nose is the entire point of the animal. Every other part of the dog is kind of built around it, which means what's sitting in your living room is a 4-legged scent processing machine that also, conveniently, loves you to bits. Play it out on a normal Tuesday in suburbia. You crack the gate for half a second. The dog catches something on the breeze, a rabbit, a deer trail, somebody's barbecue 3 streets over, and it's gone. Not running away from you, it doesn't hate you. It's just following the nose, and the nose has completely hijacked the brain. The recall you spent 6 months building doesn't exist while there's a scent. You can stand there screaming its name, and it genuinely cannot hear you. This is what gets Springers killed. Roads, mostly. A dog nose down on a trail isn't checking for traffic, and it's why rescues are full of them. Somebody got a Springer figuring it potter around the garden, and instead it dug under the fence, then learned the gate, then whatever came next, because the drive to go find something is just bottomless. There's no off switch. You can't train it out. I'll be straight with you. You can't. What you can do is give it a job. Long line walks where the nose gets to work. Scent games. Hide stuff in the yard and let it search. And a fence that's actually a fence, not a suggestion. Feed the nose, or the nose feeds itself, and the thing it picks usually ends with you driving around at midnight with a bag of hot dogs. Lift a Springer's ear flap sometime. Just lift it and look. It's dark under there. warm, kind of damp. You've basically built a little greenhouse on the side of your dog's head, and the door never opens. That's the whole problem, really. Those long, heavy, feathered ears, the ones everybody falls in love with, they seal the ear canal off from air. No airflow, no drying out. And yeast loves that. Bacteria loves that. So springers end up with chronic ear infections at a rate that's honestly kind of absurd compared to a prick-eared dog like a German Shepherd, where the canal just ventilates itself. And here's where owners get it wrong. They treat the infection. That gives drops. 2 weeks later, the ear looks fine. Everyone moves on. But with this breed, it's not a one-time event. It's a condition you manage forever. Weekly checks, cleaning solution, drawing the ears after every single swim. And good luck keeping a Springer out of water, because that dog will find water in a desert. Skip the routine and it compounds. The canal gets inflamed, then it thickens, then it scars, then it narrows. There's a point, and vets will tell you this with a straight face, where the only fix left is surgery. They remove the ear canal, the whole thing. It's called a TECA, and it costs thousands, and your dog ends up partially deaf on that side. All of that traces back to skipped Tuesdays with a bottle of ear cleaner. The smell, by the way, is how most people finally notice. That yeasty, sour smell when the dog flops next to you on the couch. By then, you're already behind. Your friend walks in the door, bends down to say hi to the dog, and the dog pees. Right there. On the entryway tile, sometimes on the friend's shoes. And the dog isn't even standing. She's rolled half over, ears pinned, tail going, looking up like everything's wonderful. That's submissive urination, and Springers are famous for it. Well, infamous. The part people miss is that it's not a house training failure. The dog isn't confused about where the bathroom is. This is social behavior. It's the dog saying, in the oldest dog language there is, "You're in charge, I'm no threat, please like me." Puppies do it to adult dogs. Soft, eager to please dogs do it to humans. And Springers are about as soft and eager to please as the species gets, so they do it a lot, which means everything your instinct tells you to do makes it worse. You raise your voice, more pee. You rush over going, "No, no, no," more pee. Even looming over the dog to clean it up reads as pressure, and pressure is the trigger. You're punishing the dog for apologizing, basically, and the dog responds by apologizing harder. The actual fix is boring. Greetings get ignored. Nobody bends over the dog. Visitors come in, look at the ceiling, let the dog settle, then maybe crouch sideways and offer a hand. No eye contact at the door. Most dogs grow out of it by 2-ish if you don't keep reinforcing the cycle. But those 2 years? Brutal. You stop having people over, you apologize constantly, you catch yourself explaining your dog's bladder to the mailman. The dog's fine. The dog forgot it happened. You're the one carrying it. A Springer should give you 12, maybe 14 years. Plenty of them don't get there, and cancer is usually the thing that takes the difference. Lymphoma shows up in this breed more than it should. So do mammary tumors. In unspayed females, the numbers get genuinely ugly, which is one of those facts breeders mention quietly and the internet mostly skips. And then there's hemangiosarcoma, which is the one that haunts people, because it grows on the spleen or the heart in total silence. No limp, no lump you can feel. The dog's chasing a ball on Saturday and collapses on Sunday because a tumor nobody knew existed just ruptured internally. That's not a rare story with this breed. Ask around in Springer groups and you'll hear it over and over, almost word for word. And the cruel timing of it is what gets me. These cancers mostly hit between 8 and 11, which is exactly when a Springer finally mellows out. The maniac years are behind you, The dog has settled into this golden, easy companionship, and that's the window the disease aims for. What can you actually do? Less than anyone wants. Spay timing matters for the mammary stuff. Talk to a vet about it, because the research has gotten complicated. Past that, it's vigilance. Twice yearly senior blood work after age 7 instead of once. Hands on the dog constantly, feeling for anything new. Pale gums, sudden tiredness, a belly that looks bloated, those get checked that day, not next week. None of it guarantees anything. Sometimes you do everything right and the spleen thing happens anyway. You get the years you get. With this breed, you learn to count them. A drywall corner. That's a real thing Springer owners come home to. Not a chewed chew. The actual corner of a wall, gnawed down like a beaver got in, and the dog's sitting there looking thrilled about it. So here's what's actually going on. This breed was built to work a full hunting day, quartering fields, flushing birds, retrieving, hours of it. That engine doesn't have an off switch just because you live in a townhouse. The work drive is still in there, idling, and idle drive has to go somewhere. Where it goes is your stuff. A walk around the block doesn't touch it. I mean, it's something, sure, but it's like giving a marathon runner a lap around the parking lot and calling it training. The body's barely warmed up, and the brain hasn't been used at all. And the brain part matters more than people think. A Springer that's physically tired but mentally bored will still find a project. Baseboards, couch cushions, the leg of the table you actually liked. People call this misbehavior. It's not. It's unemployment. This is a dog that got hired for a job that doesn't exist anymore, and nobody told it. So it invents work. Excavating the yard, that's work. Dismantling a cushion to figure out what's inside, work. Honestly, kind of impressive, the dedication. The fix isn't a bigger yard, by the way. Yards are just bigger rooms to be bored in. The fix is giving the dog something to do that uses its nose and its head. Scent games, retrieving drills, actual training sessions. 20 minutes of that beats 2 hours of standing in a yard. Skip it, and the dog picks the project. You won't like the project. Black clothes. Just give them up now. Don't eat them. Because that feathered coat everyone falls in love with at the breeder, it's a year-round fur dispensary, and you're the floor it dispenses onto. Springers are double-coated. Soft insulating layer underneath, that wavy, weather-resistant coat on top, which is great for a dog standing in a cold marsh waiting for a duck. Less great for your couch. The undercoat sheds constantly, not seasonally, constantly, and then twice a year it blows out completely, and you get what I can only describe as a fur event. Spring and fall, handfuls of it. You brush the dog, fill a grocery bag, brush again, and somehow there's more. And the feathering makes it worse in a sneaky way. Those long fringes on the legs and ears and belly, they're not just shedding, they're collecting. Burrs, twigs, mud, leaves. The dog goes outside and comes back as a walking compost sample. Then the tangled bits knot up, and matted feathering close to the skin is genuinely uncomfortable for the dog. So now you're cutting things out or paying a groomer, which, by the way, budget for the groomer, every 6 to 8 weeks for a proper trim, plus brushing at home a few times a week minimum. Skip the brushing and the coat punishes you. The mats come faster, the shedding gets worse, the whole thing snowballs. You know what's funny now? Owners stop seeing it. The fur on the stairs, the fur drifting across the kitchen like tumbleweed, it just becomes the house. Guests notice. You don't. You've gone fur blind. That's not a complaint exactly. It's just the tax. The coat that looks like that costs like that.
raise your voice at a Springer once, and the ears go down, the tail tucks, and the dog looks at you like you've ended the relationship? Not exaggerating. This is one of the softest breeds you can bring into a house, and people are not ready for it. There's a reason. These dogs were bred to work close to a handler all day, reading every signal: hand, voice, posture. Centuries of selecting for sensitivity to humans. So you get a dog that's exquisitely tuned to you, which is lovely right up until you have a bad day. Because here's what people miss. The dog isn't just hearing the yelling, it's reading the tension before the yelling. Your bad mood walks in the door with you, and the Springer clocks it instantly. Some of them will go hide, some get clingy, some just sort of deflate. And harsh training methods? Forget it. A correction that a Labrador would shrug off can genuinely set a Springer back weeks. The dog doesn't learn "don't do the thing," it learns "the person is scary now," and then you're rebuilding trust instead of teaching anything. Worse, a sensitive dog that's anxious all the time can tip into real problems: submissive peeing, nervous behaviors, the works. Now, soft isn't the same as fragile, I should say. A confident, well-raised Springer is a happy, bomb-proof companion. But you get there with patience and a level voice, not volume. Honestly, the dog trains you more than you train it. You learn to take a breath before reacting. You learn your tone matters. People say their Springer made them calmer. It didn't make them calmer. It just refused to accept anything else. Go look at any Springer-specific rescue listing right now and count the ages. Almost all of them sit somewhere between 1 and 3 years old. Not the old dogs you'd expect, the ones whose owners got too sick to cope. Young dogs, dogs right in their prime. And there's a reason for that, and it's kind of an uncomfortable one. Most people who buy a Springer have no clue what they're actually getting. They see the word Spaniel. They picture something soft and gentle that sits by the fire. What shows up is a working animal that's been bred for, 150 years to flush birds out of thick brush all day and never quit. So the dog hits about 8 months, the puppy fog lifts, and suddenly this thing needs 2 or 3 hours of real work a day, or it starts coming apart, chewing the skirting boards, spinning in the kitchen, that sort of thing. And the family, who just wanted a nice, easy dog, they're wrecked. The dog's miserable too. Nobody's winning. And right around 18 months, 2 years, the listing goes up. Rehoming due to a change in circumstances, which 9 times out of 10 means we couldn't keep up. It's not the dog's fault. That's the part that actually gets to me. The dog is doing the one thing it was built to do. It just landed in a house that wanted a couch ornament. Anyway, the rescues already know all this. Talk to anyone who runs one and you'll hear the same story. The Springers come in young, and they come in for reasons that have basically nothing to do with the dog being bad. The first one almost always happens while the dog's resting, asleep or just lying there, completely calm. And then, out of nowhere, it isn't calm. The body goes rigid, it topples over, legs paddling like it's trying to run sideways across the floor, maybe a bit of foam. Eyes wide open, and nobody home behind them. And that's the cruel part. No warning, no slow buildup you can catch. The dog was fine 30 seconds ago. Springers are one of those breeds where idiopathic epilepsy turns up more than it really should. Idiopathic, that's the vet word for, honestly, we don't know why. No tumor, no injury, nothing it ate. The brain just misfires. And it tends to kick in young, somewhere between 1 and 5 years old, right about the time you figured you had a settled, healthy adult dog on your hands. The thing nobody prepares you for is how it feels to watch. It lasts maybe a minute, 90 seconds. Feels like an hour. There's nothing you can do except move the furniture so the dog doesn't crack its head, and wait, and talk to it in a voice that's mostly for you, because the dog can't hear you anyway. Then it stops, and the dog stands up wobbly, confused, sometimes pacing, sometimes just ravenous, and acts like nothing happened. Here's what I'll say though. Plenty of these dogs live long, good lives on medication once it's managed. It's not a death sentence, but that first seizure with 0 warning in your living room on an ordinary Tuesday, that's the kind of thing nobody mentions when they're selling you the puppy. You reach down to say hello, and the dog takes your entire hand into its mouth. Doesn't bite, just holds it there, gums it a little. Sort of a handshake, except wet, and genuinely a bit alarming the first time it happens to you. That's the Springer thing almost nobody warns you about. They're mouthy, properly mouthy. And here's the kicker, most dogs grow out of the nipping stage. Springers mostly don't. It goes back to the job. This is a soft-mouthed gun dog, bred over generations to pick up a shot bird and carry it back without so much as bruising it. So there's this deep, hardwired pull to have something in the mouth, to hold it, to carry it around. And when the dog's excited and there's no toy lying nearby, well, your hand's right there, isn't it? It's not aggression. I want to be really clear on that, because people panic. There's no growl, no hard pressure, no intent behind it. It's the opposite. It's the dog being thrilled to see you and not having anywhere to put that feeling. Some of them will literally run off, grab a sock or a slipper, and bring it to the door, just so they've got something to hold when you walk in. The trouble is, it gets weird with strangers, or with kids who don't get it. A guest puts their hand out and a 60-pound dog gently engulfs it, and now you're doing the whole, no, he's friendly, that's just a thing he does routine. You can redirect it, keep a toy by the door, that kind of thing, but fully train it out? Good luck. That mouth's got 100 years of instinct behind it. Those ears, long, feathered, gorgeous, and they drag through everything. The water bowl, the mud, the food, whatever your dog just sniffed in the yard. A Springer's ears are basically 2 mops attached to its head, and they pick up whatever's on the ground and bring it into your house. And it's not just the ears. The whole coat does this. All that feathering on the legs and the belly, burrs love it. Mud loves it. Wet grass clings to it like Velcro. You take a Springer on one decent walk after rain, and you come home with a dog that's carrying about 1 pound of the outdoors on its undercarriage. I'm not exaggerating. Okay, maybe a little, but not much. Then there's the smell. Springers have an oily coat. It's part of what made them good working dogs in wet cover. The water just rolls off. Great for flushing birds in a Welsh field. Less great on your sofa. Because that oil has a smell. People call it the Spaniel smell. And once you know it, you can't unknow it. It's not awful. It's just there. Always. Even right after a bath, honestly. It comes back within a week or so. And those ears again, sorry, back to the ears. They're a warm, damp, closed-off pocket. Which is exactly what yeast and bacteria want. So you're cleaning ears weekly, minimum, or you're at the vet dealing with an infection that smells like old cheese. Your choice. None of this is a deal breaker, but it's maintenance. Real, weekly, hands-on maintenance. The shiny show dog Springer in the photos, somebody spent hours on that. You will too. There's a phrase Springer people whisper about and almost never say out loud in public: rage syndrome. It got attached to this breed decades ago. Sudden, unprovoked aggression, mostly traced to certain show lines. Now, before anyone panics, it's rare. Genuinely rare. Most Springers will never show anything close to it. But the reason that phrase exists at all is because this breed has a documented streak of possessive behavior that surprises people, because the marketing says gentle family dog and nothing else. Here's what it actually looks like in a normal house. Your sweet, soft-eyed Springer gets a chew, you walk past, and there's a stillness, a freeze. Maybe a low growl you've never heard before, from the dog that sleeps in your bed. That's resource guarding, and Springers do it more than their reputation suggests. Food, toys, sometimes a spot on the couch, sometimes a person. And people handle it wrong almost every time. They take the thing away to show the dog who's boss. Which teaches the dog exactly one lesson. When humans come close, my stuff disappears, so the guarding gets worse. Faster freeze, quicker growl, and eventually a snap. The owner says it came out of nowhere. It didn't. It came out of months of warnings nobody read. The fix isn't dominance, it's trade. You approach, good things happen. You leave, boring, slow, unglamorous work. And it works, but you have to know to look for it. And that's my actual gripe. Breeders mention the energy, the ears, the grooming, the guarding, buried in forums, page 6. Ask about the lines. A good breeder won't flinch at the question. So look, if you've watched this far, you already know this Springer isn't a casual dog. That's kind of the whole point of this video. The bird dog engine that never shuts off, the Velcro thing, the brain that needs a job or it'll invent one you won't like, none of that goes away because you wish it would. And here's what bugs me. The dog didn't ask for any of this. We bred that motor into them on purpose. For 200 years, we selected for the dog that would push through brambles all day and still want more. And then we stick that animal in a flat, give it a 20-minute walk, and act surprised when it eats the couch. That's not a bad dog. That's a bad fit. There's a difference. So if you've got a Springer, or you're thinking about one, be the owner the dog actually needs, not the owner you plan to be. The dog doesn't care about your plans. It needs the work. It needs your time. It needs you to check those ears every week, even when they look fine. Because by the time they don't look fine, you're already at the vet writing a check. And the Velcro thing, don't punish the dog for being what it is. You picked a breed that was designed to work next to a human all day. The attachment isn't a flaw, it's the product working as advertised. Your job is to give it somewhere to go. I think the people who struggle with Springers are mostly people who wanted a different dog and got this one. And the people who love them, really love them, are the ones who looked at all of it. The energy, the neediness, the ears, the whole package, and said, yeah, okay, I'm in. Be that second person. Or be honest with yourself and don't get the dog. Because this breed will give you everything it has, every single day. The least it can do is show up. That's it. That's the whole deal.